So Abraham is believing God. First, Abraham believed God to get up and leave his country. Now, God showed him his covenant and he believed God again. Sarah may have heard this vision, you see in the 16th chapter. And Sarah said, Sarah might have said, well, God told Abraham he was going to have those children, but I'm barren. So what did Sarah do? Sarah went and gave her maid to Abraham, to wife, so she can be a surrogate mother for her. Sometimes you try to help God out. Sometimes you don't think the promises of God are not coming. You know what? Sometimes you try, well, let me use wisdom with this thing. God told Abraham he was going to have children. God never told me. Sarah could have been thinking that. She may be thinking, I ain't had no children, and Abraham a healthy man. So Sarah gave her concubine, and Hagar is the concubine, and Hagar gets pregnant, and she have a son, and his name is Ishmael. And this is where the Ishmaelites come from. Now, Abraham got this promise, right? He was 75 years old when he got this promise. Let's go down to verse number 17. And when Abram was 90 years old and 9, Jehovah appeared to Abraham and said unto him, I am Almighty God. I'm El Shaddai Elohim. In other words, I'm the creator of everything. He said, walk before me and be thou perfect, and I will make my covenant between me and thee, and will multiply thee exceedingly. And Abraham fell on his face. God talked with him and said, as for me, behold, my covenant is with thee, and thou shalt be a father of many nations. Jesus says, thy name be called Abram, but thy name shall be called Abraham. God changed his name. This is why I always remind you that name means something. In verse number 6, and I will make of thee exceedingly fruitful, and will make nations of thee, and kings shall come forth out of thee, and I will establish my covenant with thee and thy seed after thee in their generations for an everlasting covenant, to be a God unto them and to thy seed after thee. And I will give unto thee and to thy seed after thee the land wherewith thou art a stranger, all the land of Canaan, and an everlasting possession, and I will be their God. And when Abraham got this covenant, Abraham laughed at God. Now, some people say Abraham may have laughed because he was excited, because it was so great. Some people said Abraham laughed because he didn't believe God. But God gave Abraham a promise 24 years ago, and it still had not manifested. And when God reaffirms it, Abraham falls on his face and laughs. I'm just trying to let you know that you may not be the only one struggling with something. You may not be the only one struggling with a promise that God has given you, where it may seem like it's never coming to pass. Look, you got a promise that you're going to be a father of many nations. God's telling you kings and going to come from you. All this going to come from you. And you don't even have a child. That sounds like it's further from the truth than anything. But you know that God told you this. How many people ever seem like when God gives you a promise, seem like the situation go backwards instead of forward?
Father, we come before you and we thank you for all of those promises, no matter how great they may be, no matter how large they may be, no matter how incredible they may be. We bless you and we praise you and thank you because it is coming to pass. In Jesus, Yeshua's name, thank God.